If you enjoy farm podcasts, then tune into Carrot Cash Flow for all things farm business. Join us as we explore the latest trends, tips, and stories from market farmers running businesses just like yours. Whether you're a seasoned farmer or just starting out, our podcast has something for everyone. Listen in and grow with us. Available on all major podcast platforms. Don't miss out. Subscribe to Carrot Cash Flow today. Where do you think ag is with relation to its understanding of how important is fungi? Are we in parallel with the rest of the world and the rest of the applications for mycology, or are we a little ahead? Are we lagging?
Yeah, you meaning in North America, or
let's say North America, like the Western knowledge in agriculture. Do we give fungi their due, or are we still like that ain't important? Pour some chemicals.
Well,
on.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, the rule of thumb, and it's kind of not to disparage anybody or any group. It's just I go into any educational system, any new setting of talking to fungi to people, assuming that most people don't know anything, and that's just because not that I know more or something. It's that literally we don't ever learn. Most people don't learn. They're not in our education systems. They're not in the mainstream media. So I come into it, sort of trying to help people start from the beginning. What are fungi? The basic definition, and trying to just build that language, break down the taboos and the barriers. And, they're not all bad, and they're really interesting, and they're not all psychoactive, and they have all these benefits and all these things, and sort of normalize. And that's what a lot of my work has been for over a decade, in many different forms, just trying to make this thing not only cool but relevant, and just as familiar as the notion of bacteria or the notion of backyard gardening of vegetables. It's not necessarily for everybody, but we know about it. It's socially acceptable. It's commonplace, and it's taught in school just in some form. And we're getting there. More teachers are coming on board and want to teach their kids and stuff. But of course, by and large, people that are in the world doing things, they don't know much. And so it's definitely my interest to help shift that, raise awareness, and enable skills so that someday I learn from other people, and more people are making innovations. Right now, the world of applied mycology, which is sort of the outside of academia, just doing stuff with fungi in all these different ways, it's very small in the world, and in North America. There's just a handful of folks, really kind of doing stuff, and they're great and innovative, but we need so many more. There's only so much one person can do. And so, I try to do sort of my things, but I've always just been so much more interested in the education and watching the culture grow. And, I can't wait for that, because more people are going to come up with more ideas than I ever could, right? And it's going to be better for everybody. And so that applies in kind of almost any realm you can think of. And depends on what you want to focus on when we talk about mycology. In the realm of sort of food production, if we want to just sort of whittle it down to that, mushroom cultivation, edible mushroom, gourmet mushrooms is fairly uncommon. Globally, the market is dominated roughly a third by the portobello / cremini / white button mushroom. It's all the same species. It's fairly agriculturally intensive to grow, the system's designed because it's such a large industry. It's very industrially produced, I guess I should say. So it's a bit more removed, less humble than a lot of other mushroom farms, if that matters to you. But still, it's also one of the least nutritious mushrooms, in my opinion, one of the least delicious mushrooms relative to other species. Not to say that you can't cook it well. So that, that right there is just a big turnoff. Most people think that mushrooms don't taste good. This is my experience, because they've either had really like just cold mushrooms from the salad bar, not cooked, which is horrible, or really poorly cooked. Most restaurants, in my opinion, don't cook them properly. So just right there, off the culinary standpoint, most people are just, they dismiss it. And then I give them a properly cooked mushroom that tastes better, and it blows their mind. They love mushrooms after that. In the realm of agriculture, I guess more specifically, not only are the mushrooms not really cultivated heavily, the macro fungi, just the application of, or the ability to utilize essentially almost probably all organic waste streams that every agricultural and animal-based system produces, the things that we really can't compost easily or can't use as fodder. I believe in time we will find a good way to run that through fungi of some form. Not only maybe make say a really good example is coffee bean hulls, which are too tannic for fodder. After fungal fermentation and digestion, it becomes protein infused and viable fodder. Plus you get mushrooms out of that. And you apply that to any waste stream that we produce. And they've shown through the last century that hundreds of agricultural residues can be used as mushroom substrate. If you spread that all across the Midwest, and every farmer of every scale and backyard gardener, and enable them through having your neighborhood mushroom growing supply store, like you have your neighborhood plant growing supply stores, to take their garden waste or their farm waste and grow another crop out of it, or produce fodder, or produce a mycelium based tabletop or other object, and we close our loop so much more. Once that becomes as commonplace again as backyard gardening, I mean, I can't even necessarily imagine or measure the cultural implications and the resource management implications of that, let alone hopefully how it might, inspire kids or make them see this process, which cultivation is really strange and unusual the first few times you see it. And I think kids love it, and whatever that could lead them to care about nature more and things.
Hello, growers. Looking for a simple way to supercharge your diet with powerful nutrients? Meet broccoli microgreens. These tiny sprouts pack 10 to 100 times more nutrition than mature broccoli, making them a true superfood. With their mild flavor, broccoli microgreens can be added to any meal or smoothie, giving you a tasty health boost. They're easy to grow, ready in just 7 to 9 days, and thrive in various environments. Rich in sulforaphane, calcium, vitamin C, vitamin A, iron. They protect your cells and fight inflammation. Perfect for boosting your health goals or as a market crop. Start growing them today and experience the benefits. Get 100% organic, pathogen tested and pathogen free broccoli microgreen seeds at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.